We did a party earlier this year with Baby J, and we had a massive Gen Z crowd. People say Gen Zs don't drink. Wrong, they drink.
Yeah, that was a pretty good night behind the bar.
Let's just say we have like a $10,000 budget. Who can we book, right? That typical Singaporean will know. Literally nobody. Typical Singaporean only knows Lady Gaga, The Weeknd, Bruno Mars, or Swedish House Mafia or something. But all those people cost like a ball. One of my friends, I was like, who's the most underground person that I can book? And then he's like, oh, underground like Dom Dollar. I'm like, are you kidding me? Dom Dollar is underground to you guys?
Everyone's saying his nightlife is dying. How do you guys like navigate this? I don't know.
That's loaded.
I think, first of all, I don't fully believe that nightlife is dying, and I truly hate it when people say that.
Yeah, kind of sensationalized by
It is, and the headlines are always very like sensational. Like, you know, Gen Zs and millennials don't go out anymore. They don't see the point in it. But I think if you go out on a regular basis, you will see that that's not true. Like, the nightlife industry goes up and down like every other industry, so it has its highs and low points, but I don't think you need to say that nightlife is dying, because it's if you go out, you'll see people out and about. Like, yeah, there are some venues that might be suffering, but yeah, I think it's just like a cycle.
Yeah, I think it's a cycle, but I also think that's kind of a 1D perspective, right? Like people are changing all the time. The economy is changing all the time. Nightlife is changing all the time. Music is changing all the time. So I think that there's an ebb and flow to it. So it might be busy, you know, at one particular month, and it might be slower another month, or quieter, I should say, rather than slow. And that changes through the year. You know, it's seasonal as well, right? So I don't think that nightlife is dying. I think that it's evolving, you know, and I think that we're in a stage of evolution with nightlife at the moment. I think that post-COVID, like, I think, you know, it hit so hard because everyone was so excited to be out again and be with their friends again, and they'd been dining out for a little while, but there was no music. And now, you know, then there was like, they're dining out and there's music again. And I think everyone was so excited for such a long time. And I think that I feel like the excitement maybe has died down a little bit, and life is going back to normal, has gone back to normal for a while. But yeah, I think this is a cycle that actually nightlife has gone through many times. It's just that we're going through it now in our day and age, right?
Also, post-COVID, so many of our favorite clubs and venues closed down, and now there are so many more venues that are opening again. So yeah, I think that's just going to propel it to go a little bit further, hopefully.
But it's kind of ironic. A lot of people say that nightlife, you cannot really make money, but then a lot of people want to open club. You know, all the rich people want to start a business. Why don't I open a club? You know?
Yeah, and spend millions of dollars doing it. It kind of makes me nervous.
In a past episode, I have a podcast with Daniel Cheng. Hug 11 is like, a lot of people open it, like rich people open it. It's like a vanity project, you know. I own a club, so I just want to make it as cool as possible, import all the cool acts. I don't care whether I make money or not. Could that be one of the...
I think it's if you've got money to invest into something, I think it's a cool investment. I think it's something, you know, cool to invest in, to be a part of. For some people, that's their creative investment, right? I'm investing into something that is in the creative, entertainment, music, F&B space, which is kind of cool, as opposed to I'm investing in commodities, I'm investing in real estate, you know. So I think sometimes it's that, you know, it's something cool and something different to do for a change.
Add to the ecosystem.
Yeah, and actually these people are great. Good for them. You know, good for them for taking a chance on something like nightlife and investing into that and giving us like cool new spaces to work with, or to go to, or to enjoy new music and that sort of thing. I'm for it, actually.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Yeah. You say nightlife is for the youths?
Yeah, I think it can be for everyone. Like, our crowd starts from like maybe late 20s to like late 40s even, you know, like we have a slightly older crowd, like mostly millennials. We do see like some Gen Zs coming through, and it's great, like the ones who really appreciate, like, I guess, less commercial music, and just opening themselves up to something new. But yeah, I would say it's for everyone. You do see less, or I guess people talk about how Gen Zs are not going out so much anymore. They're not really drinking anymore.
Yeah.
But then they still go out to party and listen to music, like I think Beans and Beats is
Yep.
like a great example of that. You know, they've really turned that into something really cool.
I also beg to differ. We did a party earlier this year with Baby J, and we had a massive Gen Z crowd.
Yeah, well, Baby J is damn happening or what?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
90%, 80%,
Yeah.
like new people, like people who have never been to GrooveTop before, and mostly Gen Zs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, people say Gen Zs don't drink. Wrong. They drink.
Yeah, that was pretty good night behind the bar, I would say. So like,
Yeah.
we were like, that's interesting. And that was around the same point of time when Straits Times released their article
Ooh.
about how Gen
Well,
Zs
I
don't
bet
go out
you know
anymore. And we were like,
Exactly.
yeah, maybe it's just like you need to put up certain acts or like the right thing. Yeah, whether it's like a coffee party or an act that, you know, does really well on TikTok but puts on really great music.
Yeah. I watched this podcast, damn, I watched so many podcasts, I don't even know where I get the source material from, probably Diary of a CEO or something. They were saying that, you know, millennials alcohol sales in the year, during that particular year was like 20 billion or something, and then when it comes to Gen Z, it's just divided by 10, like 2 billion only.
Yeah.
You know, so it really affects like the whole entire revenue model of like nightlife owners, event organizers, all that kind of stuff. And alcohol is like a social lubricant, and nightlife is really predominantly mainly meant for the youths, you know. So if Gen Zs are not drinking as much, probably they also don't really have the obligation to come out as much, you know, unless like a Baby J level kid comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I just feel like nightlife is not as happening as what it was like maybe pre-COVID. It's also due to like so many factors.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the social construct and everything lah. Yeah, and then just the other day I was just toying around with numbers, right, with some of my industry friends, right, and then we are thinking about, okay, let's just say we have like a $10,000 budget, who can we book, right, that typical Singaporean will know? Like literally nobody, you know. Like your typical Singaporean only knows someone that has like 100 million Spotify listeners, like Lady Gaga, The Weeknd, the Bruno Mars, or Swedish House Mafia or something. But all those people cost like a bomb, you know.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends, I was like, who's the most underground person that I can book, right? AKA I can lower the cost as low as possible. That Singaporean will know. And then he's like, oh, underground like Dom Dola. I'm like, are you kidding me? Dom Dola is underground to you guys.
Yeah.
So that's why I realized that you all really hit the jackpot, right? In which you all managed to find that mid-tier price, right, with TikTok DJs. What do you think?
I don't think, I would say that Baby J is probably the only like TikTok DJ that we've booked so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the other people that we've booked are maybe more popular on Instagram, but also not to the same kind of level that Baby J is.
Yeah, she went viral, and because
Like
of
really
that, very quickly.
I think maybe not specifically just TikTok, but like for example, internet famous DJs like Floating Riri, you know, the boiler room one, and then with Yotsuki Hikimatsu.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so I feel like this is like the new mid tier.
Yeah.
It's not about record sales anymore. It's not about how many music you produce. You know.
Yeah, it's about YouTube views.
Yeah, it's all about social media lah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to discover new DJs. Like, I discover a lot of DJs on Instagram and on YouTube. Yeah, it helps me find cool new people to book.
Yeah, it's also how GrooveTop has grown is through social media as well. You know, like it's been completely organic growth.
Yeah.
And, you know, we sell tickets to our events, right? And that's totally organic through predominantly Instagram. So it's been interesting for us how social media has worked. But yeah, I don't think that we specifically seek out DJs through social media, but I think it's really cool to discover talent through like the random scrolling, you know, and something comes up and it's like, ooh, or actually friends that send other DJs to us through social media as well because they've come across them.
A lot of the times we just book DJs that we like. Like, that's the method.
Yeah, there's no
like,
science to it.
The music that gets played at GrooveTop is stuff that we like to listen to and we want to party to, and we think that our friends and our crowd will also like. That's really just the method. We just want to put up.
Focus lah.
Yeah.
Don't have to be too like kung fu master about it. Oh, this is not credible. I shall not be associated. You know, that kind.
Yeah. I mean, there are also loads of DJs that I love, but I feel like don't really fit the GrooveTop vibe or sound. is if we have a sound, we don't have a specific sound. It's quite broad, but it's more of like a feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, to that point, actually, sometimes we get offered DJs and we turn them down, not because of fitting the sound or because of cost, but because of the year. And we want to really push local talent as well. And that's another big thing. The reason why sometimes we're like, okay, actually, we've done quite a number of guest international DJs in a row. Let's scale it back and let's slow down a little bit and focus on the local talent for a while.
When you say because of the year, right, is it because their music a little bit too forward?
No,
This particular
no. I just mean like in a year, we've got 12 months and only so many events that we can
Too many
do,
international
only so much time. So yeah, we don't want to cannibalize our own demographic, right? So yeah, we want to kind of have equal opportunity for local DJs to play at our parties as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess that's also a community building mechanic inside lah. Yeah, and then with that said, right, what is like an appropriate event frequency for you guys?
We do parties about twice a month on average, I would say.
That's actually a lot.
Yeah.
I just did like a hardstyle collective, right? They are like maybe once every 2 months, once every 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, it started, so when GrooveTop first started, it was once every 3 months. But this was before COVID, and I had a full-time job, and it was really just for fun.
Yeah.
And then after COVID, when we relaunched it, we did one, and then everyone's like, when's the next one? And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll do one next month. And then it just became a monthly thing, and then did that for about a year. And then that's when, you know, things really started to pick up, and we got a lot more people approaching us, like venues approaching us, and I guess more opportunities. And we could see that there was a demand for it. So then that's when we started to do twice a month. And then, yeah, we were like, shit, there's a lot of work. So then we both became full-time.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I know you are like in the nightlife industry, right? For this and marketing.
Yeah.
And what were you working on?
I've done a couple of things. So my thing that I've done for the longest period of time is I built and ran a men's fashion brand and e-commerce store. And I did that for about 12 years or so. And after that, I was kind of, what am I going to do with my life? Eat, pray, love for a little while. And then I went into English language teaching. And I did that for a couple of years and through COVID. And then when Sophie wanted to kick GrooveTop back up again, yeah, I was like, how can I help? I'll come and put posters up. I'll spread the word. Yeah.
When you were at Hawking, she's really part of the team.
She's my best friend. That's first of all, she's like ride or die best friend. So she was like always around to help because it was really just only me, like setting up events, putting up posters, doing all that kind of stuff.
I feel you, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it was fine for a while, but then as you know, worked with I guess bigger venues, did more things. I was like, oh shit, I need help, and she was always there to help. And then yeah,
we went on holiday together. Actually, we went to Bali, and when we were on holiday, we were kind of sat talking about like my experiences in the past with business and Sophie's experience with GrooveTop, and wanting to leave freelance work behind and just focus on GrooveTop.
Wanting to grow GrooveTop because at that point I was like, I feel like there's so much more that I can do with this, but I don't have the time, and it's a lot. And I think I needed help, especially more on like the business side and just someone to bounce ideas off of. And yeah, we're the type of friends that we just don't get sick of each other.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. But what happens when there's a conflict? How do you kind of resolve it?
Actually, we
family members fight, you know, best friends, you know.
Yeah, so we haven't had any major conflict to date. We've had disagreements, yeah, with like maybe not even really anything major, but like maybe disagreements on. I'm trying to think of something.
Like an opinion on how to do something, maybe, but we just talk it out, and I think we have a lot of respect for each other that we're not gonna like start fighting. Like I don't think it's in either of our nature to do that. Yeah, we generally share our perspective on the pros and the cons, and then come to some kind of like middle ground of like, okay, or either one of us is convinced by the other. Or
easy with people because there's no tiebreaker. It really takes years of mutual trust and friendship.
I think that we're both like very level-headed, understanding people to begin with, and I think that our our communication style with each other works in terms of work. You know, like we're able to discuss things from a like you said, a really respectful manner. And I think the biggest thing is that we both realize that actually when we are in some kind of disagreement, it's not about either either one of us like winning or anything like that. It's actually about for the best thing for GrooveTop or best thing for the experience or best thing for whatever it is that we're trying to talk about, you know. So I think that's the reason why it works out for us.
Like sometimes I'll be adamant about something and then Amanda will tell me her perspective and she'll be adamant, and I think it goes both ways, where sometimes she'll be like, she'll explain why she thinks it's that way and I'll be like, okay, fine. And then a lot of the time I'm like, yeah, that was the right decision.
But also vice versa.
Yeah, vice
sure.
versa. So I think,
especially the entertainment industry, right? You cannot really predict something. Ed Sheeran cannot predict his biggest banger, you know, us. And then what was that pivotal moment where you realized, okay, you know what? Let's make the career jump. Is it financial security, or is it like this thing's really working out?
It was definitely a risk, obviously. Like,
yeah, man.
Even just letting go of like my freelance like marketing clients, and these are clients that I took on as a pivot, kind of like a pivot from COVID, because even though I was still doing marketing, instead of doing marketing for Nightlife, I was doing marketing for like F&B spots again, or like a swimwear brand, or you know, like a cafe.
Economy, man. I feel
like
resident DJ. Oh my god.
And
what genre also play?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to focus. I mean, I have a huge passion for this.
Yeah.
And this was like my baby, and I really just wanted to see where it could take me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just like, okay, let's do it. And then thank God she came on board.
Yeah, when Sophie went full-time with GrooveTop, I started part-time with GrooveTop, or rather sort of like, moonlighting, really, because I still had a day job at the time. I was still teaching English. And then I would work on GrooveTop with Sophie after work. Sometimes we'd meet at lunchtime, you know, that sort of thing. And then eventually we got to a point where it was like, something's going to give. I need so much more time to be able to dedicate to GrooveTop, and it was growing, and to do more than one event a month, we wanted to grow it to 2. So I quit my job and never looked back.
I think we just saw the opportunity and we were like, okay, let's just try it and see how it goes. Like, what's the worst that can happen? It fails and we just go find another job.
I think that's the key. We didn't put too much pressure on GrooveTop. I think that we're both just like, okay, let's do this. It's fun. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
If it stops being a good time, then we stop doing it.
Yeah, that's the perfect place to be. And I realized that you guys don't really do trending content. You just do after movie recap. How do you like foster community in that way? Is it everything is organically offline mainly?
Yeah, I don't think I really have a knack for trending content. Like, I guess I could, but I think it comes from more of like just a genuine place of posting videos that I think people will want to see, that will make them want to come to our events. So whether it's just like a clip of a great moment from a DJ that's playing, or, you know, a clip from a boiler room that they've played before, something like that, or just people having a good time, like showing more of a feeling that comes from GrooveTop rather than doing like a specific dance or a transition that's going to attract more people. I think a lot of the growth of GrooveTop has been quite, what's the word?
Intentional.
Yeah, and organic. Like I was very resistant to putting money into boosting ads, and
I realize it's quite pointless.
Yeah, I still do it sometimes. Like there are some events where I'm like, okay, maybe it will help just to put like $200 behind a post, but it's quite rare. And it was just more like, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay money to boost this. Let's just see how it goes. And a lot of the growth came from our friends. Like GrooveTop started with just like, I don't know, like probably 80 people. And they were all friends, or like friends of friends. And then as it continued, like their friends told their friends and their friends told their friends, and it just kind of became this thing. And it's pretty organic, I would say.
Agreed. Yeah. I think that actually I heard something about this on a podcast the other day on Huberman Labs, and it was about how oftentimes when you see a movie, you see the movie trailer, you see all the highlights of the movie, right? And these are all the best parts. Then you watch the movie, and sometimes you watch the movie and you go, oh my gosh, the best parts of the movie were all in the trailer. The movie wasn't that great. I think that what Sophie does with the content that we create is not this like trending content. I think that she's showing a highlight reel of what happens at GrooveTop, and oftentimes that's truly how GrooveTop is. When the highlight reel of GrooveTop and the recap videos and that sort of thing, when you go to GrooveTop, this is truly what you're experiencing. So I think that's the best way to package what it is, right? Show them what you're really going to experience in GrooveTop. Don't oversell them and don't underdeliver something, you know? So I think that's, it's a trailer.
But also, I think we have to mention like the posters for our events. Have kind of become like a thing, like a signature thing that people expect. Like we've had multiple people tell us that, you know, when they're scrolling through Instagram and they see a poster without seeing the GrooveTop logo on it first, you
can tell the style.
You can tell that even though the posters are all pretty different, but they're all pretty like wacky in a way, and like weird and colorful and eye-catching, and it kind of makes you like look at it more. Our designer Theo is freaking amazing. He like churns out these amazing artworks like so well and twice a month, and he's like super talented, and we definitely have to give credit to him.
From, like, not only him being a good designer, right, but he can somehow figure out what exactly you like.
I don't know how he does that.
Yes. It truly is that. Sometimes we don't even have time to mood board, but we just put a bunch of words together and we're like, hey Theo, so we're looking for this color and this and this, and we want to encapsulate this feeling, and he's like, I got you, and he sends us something and we're like, what? We're like, he just like took it from our minds, you know?
But literally sometimes, and actually a lot of the time, we don't even give him that much to go on. I think he just has fun with it as well. So usually like maybe we give him the venue, the type of music, and the DJs. And then he just put something together and we're like, how did you know?
Sometimes it's the genre of the party as well. Because we've got a few genre parties, right? So we've got like a house party called Feels. So if it's like Feels, he kind of knows that it's like very dancey, you know, it's encapsulating something that's quite like...
it really is just Feels.
Yeah, it's just that. Yeah, that's how we came up with the name actually.
Another collective with an equally amazing art direction is Civilian Affairs.
100%.
Yes.
I just anyhow scroll, just suddenly just go past me like 0.1 second. I can tell it's Civilian Affairs.
Yes.
Come back. So important branding.
Yeah.
I fully agree.
I mean, it's like a Huberman Labs or Diary of the CEO, right? You don't even need their face there. It's like that thumbnail is like enough to suck you in. Right?
Yeah.
That's something that I also try to do for my brand, but it's so damn difficult. Oh my god! I think you guys are so lucky you managed to figure it out. You know? Yeah, it's crazy.
We're lucky we've got a very good designer.
And that he there's trust there, right? Like he trusts us to just leave him to do things, and at the same time we just trust that he knows what to do for the brand.
And then the next point is, how do you guys choose your venues? Because it's like quite difficult, right? And as like collective owners, right? I've heard so many like scare stories, like people owe people money, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Do you guys just simply don't do the event unless you find some place and somebody you can trust?
I think definitely, we started out, you know, at Moonstone, the old Moonstone, when it was in an industrial building. They were friends, and it was just like a vibe that we went on. We're like, these people get it. They're going to be fun people to throw a party with. And that kind of continued on when we started to look for other venues. Like, who else did we work with? Like
Young Pigeon
are like great people, like put on a great party as well. Like people, I don't know how else to put it, but like they just get it, you know. They don't ask like questions about what our crowd is going to do if they're like standing up on the chairs or anything and dancing. Like they're not going to be anal about it. Like Barbary Coast also, you know, used to throw amazing parties, and it was just like a vibe that we got, and like we just got along well with the people. And then as we went along and maybe kind of expanded the venues that we worked with bigger venues, these are people that we might not have met before. But it's more of like Like, first of all, the venue, like how it looks, like how conducive it is for a party. Like, where is the bar? Where are we going to put the DJ booth? Is there going to be enough space for the dance floor? Is there going to be like a DJ booth here and then a long dance floor, which I'm not really a fan of, because then people can't really connect so much with the DJ. And it kind of makes it a bit awkward.
Experience.
Yeah, exactly. I like a wide DJ,
Yeah.
so like more people can kind of connect with the DJ. Yeah, it's multiple things. So it's, you know, we meet them, and if we get like a good vibe, or if it ends up working out like in a financial way, then I guess we make a decision as to whether we want to work with them or not. And we see like a lot of venues, like we go on like venue hunts like all the time, and a lot of the times like we see beautiful venues and great people, great teams that we just don't end up working with, because we only do 2 parties a month. I mean, it's a lot, but
Yeah, and then sometimes it's just sometimes the venue just doesn't fit the party, right? Like we kind of know that we're going to be doing this particular event, and we know that it's going to be 250 people, and the venue only fits 150. Oh. It's just our hands are tied. It's impossible for us, you know. And then we think, okay, well let's create something that's going to fit 150 people. And when can we do that? Oh, okay. Well, we can't do that for another 6 months, because you know our roster's full and everything, and we've got all of these plans. And so it's a bit tricky, but it doesn't mean that we don't want to work with the venues. We really, truly do want to work with so many more venues. It's actually the part of the thing that's been so exciting is also taking people to new venues.
Keeps it exciting. But there are definitely places and people that we've worked with where we're like, oh yeah, we can't go back there. That's all I will say.
I mean, it's very common one. The fact that you can meet amazing people, wow, that's the rare case, you know. You know, most of the time it's like questionable individuals.
Also, like, I mean, I've worked in nightlife for like more than 10 years now, and like it's a very small like community as well, so like I like to work with a lot of the people that I've known and people that I've been introduced to. So it just makes it a lot more fun.
I feel you on so many levels on this. Like, some of my friends from abroad come to Singapore, right? And then it's like I can go to any club, I can just like know everybody. It's like, how the hell is this? What's Singapore, right? It's so small.
Singapore's tiny.
Everybody knows each other. Then when you kind of have bad behavior, then your reputation kind of spread.
This is the thing that I don't understand. Like, people, you know this. You live here. You know how small this place is, and you know that everybody knows everyone, and word travels fast. And your reputation is everything, you know. And why wouldn't you want to protect your reputation by doing good business or keeping good communication, you know?
Maybe they just want, like, you know, short-term gains. They don't really care about long-term profits kind of stuff. And then maybe when this clubbing thing doesn't work out, then they go and start selling chicken rice or something. You know, but for us, we really love this, you know, we want to do this for a long while.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The other thing about venue, right, is that you see a lot of venues, right, they also kind of like pivoting towards that table model, that table booking VIP kind of model, which is like very more apparent in Malaysia than in Singapore, like, if you think about it. But GrooveTop, right, and also very similarly to us, we also like to host more dance-centric kind of parties, right? How do you guys make financial sense out of it, right, since bottle service is not the focus?
We do, I mean,
just
tickets. Our crowd is also mainly like a loose drink kind of crowd. We do have like a few regulars who love to book tables, and you know, from time to time we do sell tables, also depending on the venue. Like, we did TBC recently, Tanjong Beach Club, for our anniversary, and obviously like you kind of have to book tables if you want to like day beds, all of that kind of stuff. So I mean, actually you didn't have to. You could have just walked in. It was a free party. You could just go in and buy loose drinks at the bar. But that one sold out pretty well. Mostly loose drinks.
But what about
ticket
sponsors?
Sales.
Because you guys are essentially garnering a crowd, you know. And then how receptive are sponsors coming in to like kind of foot part of the bill
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do work with sponsors. I think the benefit to sponsors is that that's an organic crowd that we've built, right?
Yeah.
And if they work with us, then it's their drinks that our crowd are drinking. And the benefit of that is it's also like, you're talking about volume on a particular night. So yeah, we do work with sponsors. Our main thing is tickets, of course, which is what keeps the lights on for us. So that's great. And we appreciate that. But yeah, we do work with sponsors and we're happy to work with them for different things. We've done a couple of things where we've built out events for them, but otherwise they're involved with us and they come and support what we're doing, which is great.
Yeah. Really helps with cost.
It really does. It gives us the ability to do
cost.
things like bring in, DJs, international DJs and that sort of thing, because it helps us. Yeah, it really does help us with the buffering of like that added cost.
Also, we do a lot of parties in kind of like unconventional spaces, like restaurants or places that don't have like a DJ booth or a proper sound system. And obviously that's like a huge focus for us. Like it needs to be a good sound system.
What if it doesn't have? You need to rent your
Then we rent.
So a lot of the time we rent a full sound system and CDJs and all of that. And that can cost like a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
And then with lights involved as well, if we want to do something cool, that's another $1,000 plus. So yeah, sponsors really help with that.
Yeah, it's not easy. And even if we have our friends in the industry, right, like therapy room or whatever, they give us like preferential rate, but we also don't want to undercut them.
Exactly, like this
they're
is
still running
their
a
bread and
business
butter.
too.
Yeah. We do work with them. We work with like a few different people as well, and it's an ecosystem that we also want to support. Yeah.
So moving on, right, since this is technically a company, right, do you guys have like a fundraising process to like boost the company or to use it to invest in bigger acts? Like, for example, right, I'm seeing Collective Minds. How the hell did they manage to book freaking Fred again?
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Yeah, congrats to them actually for that. That's awesome. Yeah.
They're doing
Levels away.
such good stuff.
Yeah.
Like Jamie XX and Black
Boris
Coffee.
Brejcha is like, their curve is like exponential. I don't know, how do we like aspire to become like Collective Minds?
Yeah, actually we haven't done any fundraising or anything like that. We've entirely bootstrapped GrooveTop. So it was just like, from the beginning, Sophie started it, right? And she started it off her own paycheck and then just kept on putting money into it on her own. And then, when I came on, then we created a private limited. We registered a company and then we were like, okay, let's like put money back into the company. And the company just makes itself money now. So that's great. We haven't done any fundraising. Maybe we should. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. It would
maybe eventually if we decide to do like much bigger things, like a lot of people talk to us about like when you're doing a GrooveTop festival.
Yeah, man.
That would be fun, but also kind of scares me a little bit.
Wow.
I think if we want to do something like that, we'd want to collaborate with other people in the scene to put it together.
Yeah, it's a massive undertaking.
It's a huge risk.
And to be frank, it's also like GrooveTop is just Sophie and I. Like we don't have a team. It's just us. We do everything. Of course, we lean on a lot of other people, like our designer Theo, and we work with AV guys and that sort of thing. But it is just us. So if we were going to start a festival or run our own festival,
hire new people.
Team or the office.
Yeah.
And then we would definitely need funding.
Yeah.
But for now, we're coasting along pretty nicely.
I think it's like a slow organic growth is our thing. Maybe eventually in a year or two we'll do something bigger, but I don't have like a huge need to grow so quickly. Like I think it's probably the safer option as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been asked before, how do we plan to scale? And I'm like, that's a good question.
The business guys asking this.
Yeah, of course, right? Because like if right now you're making X, how do you triple that?
So investors want to come in, man.
Of course, but how do we want to scale? I don't know. I don't even know. The truth is, I don't even know the answer to how we should scale or how we would want to scale.
So difficult.
Yeah, because at the moment we're doing 2 events a month. We don't want to do 4 events a month. That's too much, you know. And at this stage, we also are not looking to open a venue either, you know. Exactly. But if we're talking about scale, like how do you measure scale? Like more events, open a venue, do a festival. Go international. This is how you scale, right?
That's one way that we are kind of scaling, but it's not in a monetary kind of way. It's more of like a branding and awareness kind of way. We started a GrooveTop on tour last year, and we did a gig in Manila and in Siargao in the Philippines, and then we did Melbourne a couple of months ago.
So how did that happen? How do you even like connect with those people?
How it happened was, let's do GrooveTop on tour. We want to go to Manila.
How do we turn a holiday into a work trip?
Also, we've been hearing things about Siargao. Let's go to Siargao.
I spent a bit of time in Manila in 2017. So I made a lot of friends in nightlife and like a lot of DJs and venue owners and like a lot of. Actually, part of the reason why I started GrooveTop is because I was inspired by a lot of the parties in Manila. It was just like casual in a way, like you didn't have to go to a club to have a good party. Everyone was super friendly. It was just a feeling. And I guess now we have a lot more of those kind of parties in restaurants and pop-ups. But back then it was really, they weren't even pop-ups. It was just a restaurant would just turn into a dance party, you know. Filipinos really know how to have fun, seriously.
After 5 very serious one. After 5 is like, don't talk to me.
They're hustling. They all have like a main job, 3 different side hustles, and then they still party at night.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it, but it's a freaking good time. So I connected with friends in Manila to put this up. We actually, a few months or maybe the year before, we had brought in a few DJs from Manila to do a Manila takeover in Singapore. So that's also part of like what we like to do, is connect with the regional industry. So we've done Manila takeover,
Bali
takeover.
I think that's all we've done.
Yeah, so far we've got a few more things in the pipeline. Bringing regional DJs
we
over.
May as well also call it an Amsterdam takeover at this point, because we've booked a lot of DJs from Amsterdam.
So many of our guest DJs are Dutch.
Is it because of that Dutch, Brazilian funk kind of groove kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's the type of music that we like to listen to and party to is very, I guess they're just really good at it. They all kind of roll within the same crews, like Cyrene, Terracora, One Tigga,
Jael,
Jaro Vandal, Jael, like... it's just such good vibes.
How would you classify one rooftop as? What's the genre? Or it's just a feeling again?
There's really not one genre. So GrooveTop started as an R&B rooftop party.
It's like refuge style.
Yes, exactly. It was just like a day to night kind of like sunset R&B rooftop party, hence the name GrooveTop. And then after COVID, I wanted to work with Moonstone again, but they had moved to Amoy Street, and obviously there's no rooftop there. So I was like, never mind. Like, I don't want to restrict myself to only rooftops just because I've called it GrooveTop.
Right.
I was like, that's silly. And then I was also thinking, like, is it just going to be R&B? I got Ollie Des and Crumbs, who were not like, we've never really had resident DJs, but they used to play for GrooveTop like pre-COVID quite a lot. So it's like definitely going to get them back. And then I got Josh P as well, Raj. And he's not an R&B DJ. Like, he can play great R&B, great hip hop, but his sound is so varied. So when I got him and he was talking to me about like what he wanted to play, and I was like, just do your thing and have fun with it. And he played a whole bunch of stuff. And then that kind of sparked the thought, like, oh, why am I just restricting GrooveTop to R&B only? There's so many different types of music that I love to listen to and that I want to party to, like house, disco, you know, like garage. Exactly. So that's when it started to expand more.
So many people is like advising me against like being an open format DJ. It's like, oh, you need to have a branding, have a sound, you know.
No.
Yeah, so what is the thing that gels everything together? I understand it's like the poster, like everybody knows, you know. That's one thing, right? But the music is like different every single time, right? How do you ensure that when people come, right, they don't like,
I think people expect now that it's not just like a hip hop night, or I think for a while, a lot of people thought that GrooveTop was just hip hop, and then they'd show up to parties and be like, "Oh, I thought it was a hip hop party." I'm like, "No, not anymore." Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess hopefully it expands like what they're expecting, or maybe introduces them to new music.
But is every night centered around an artist or centered around a theme or
not
a genre?
Not particularly. We do have like different concepts, like Amanda mentioned. We've got our house night called Feels. We've got
Pirate Material,
which is it used to be called GrooveTop Garage.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of people coming up to us being like, "Oh, this is not all garage." And I'm like, "Okay, but I don't want the DJs to play like garage all night, because I love garage, but I don't want to listen to it for 6 hours."
Yeah.
You know, so also Josh, again, he held down that night for the first couple of editions, and he would weave in and out of like UKG, UK funky, some like
UK hip hop,
UK rock. So it just kind of became like, it is a garage-ish night, but
this guy is crazy.
And he really is. He really
like drop a drum and bass tune.
Yeah, drum and bass.
Yeah. So then we decided to rename it Pirate Material.
Yeah, Pirate Material, which is like from a garage song, but still it's a bit more vague in terms of like what you're expecting.
That kind of direction.
Yeah,
it's a UK night.
Yeah, it's a UK night.
Yeah.
And then we have like an all things Afro.
Slow Jam Sunday,
which is
Slow Jams kind of takes it back to the original GrooveTop party.
Yeah,
it's really like R&B slow jams and that sort of thing. And you know, we've done it most times on a Sunday. Actually, all of them have been on a Sunday, and children are welcome.
Very chill Sunday vibes.
One Sunday event a month.
That was the idea.
Yeah. And then we were like, oh, we can't do that.
Sometimes it gets too much, because we're doing 2 Saturday events a month, and then to do another Sunday one, because the Sunday one doesn't make as much money as the Saturday one, obviously. So sometimes we have to sacrifice and not do it all the time. Ideally, we'd like to do it once every 3 months, but sometimes, we just get too busy and kind of leave it behind. But it's one that's very close to our heart, because it's very close to the old GrooveTop style. It's like R&B, neo soul.
R&B. It's like
it's daytime party.
What you want to listen to on a Sunday?
Like the same age, 1990.
Sure. Yes, correct.
I like to think so.
Yeah. That's right.
There,
Yeah. 1990. Okay.
That's really my jam, you know.
Yeah.
Period where I still remember fondly that my whole entire class, they are all listening to Mando pop and stuff. Is apparently very popular during that. But I'm the only Chinese person listening to black music. You know?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So just now earlier we also discussing about like on the outside, wow, GrooveTop's damn hot. Everybody's like, whoa, GrooveTop's damn happening. Can you like kind of highlight what's the highest and the lowest point in GrooveTop?
I think our 7th anniversary this year was a pretty high point. That was,
higher than Baby J.
I mean, let's put it into context, right? Like 7th anniversary, no guest DJs, all local lineup. It was celebrating an anniversary. We did it at like a revamped Tanjung Beach club. So it was like, you know, on the sunny shores of Singapore, you know, on a beautiful sunny day where it rained everywhere except Sentosa.
God, the weather was so good. Really.
Yeah.
What happens if it rains? Oh my God.
I mean,
you're at the beach. You're gonna get wet anyways.
Yeah, true.
Also, DJ just continue.
It's undercover. So,
it is like part of it is undercover.
Yeah.
That's just a risk.
And anyway, we've done a party before. We did an all things Afro party, and it rained, and people just danced in the rain. They were like, "This is a party!" Like it was amazing. We had such a good time.
A very special moment. Yeah. That was also a high. We have a few like high moments.
There's definitely a couple of pinch me moments.
Yeah. We're like. Sometimes like we're all like the two of us are busy like in the party, and I feel like I haven't seen Amanda in a while, and we're both looking for each other. We see each other on the dance floor, and this is like the best friend moment where we're like, like freak out.
Yeah, it is definitely that. And then we kind of like, we look at each other and we look around and we're like, wow. Yeah, we did this.
Yeah,
cool.
TBC, the 7th anniversary was definitely not just in numbers. That was the highest number of people that we've had at a GrooveTop before, because it's such a 1,000.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, roughly 1,000. Yeah. Before that, the highest that we had ever done was 650, and we did kind of expect how many people were going to show up because of like the table bookings, and we did like free RSVP signups, but it was a free party as well, so you could sign up and also just not show up if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, when people actually came out and we saw like the space like full, and not having seen TBC do anything like that in a while, and these people, yeah, they're out for like a good time, but also it feels like every time we do an anniversary, like it really feels like people are celebrating with us as well.
Yeah,
like,
100%. Yeah.
And it's become a thing, like actually the anniversary parties are like...
It's one of our biggest of the year.
Yeah.
Wherever we go, whichever venue we go to, it sells out. It's usually full. We can't let any more people in. And I think it's really testament to the fact that it's also a celebration of all the, like, we call them like the GrooveTop All-Stars, like the local DJs that we book multiple times throughout the year. Yeah. So we try to put as many of them as together as we possibly can.
This year I was like, okay, because the year before we did it at Potato Head, so we had 2 different rooms. We had the cocktail bar,
1939,
and then the rooftop. So I was able to put like, you know, a DJ every hour on each room. And then when I kind of was programming for Tanjong Beach Club, I was like, oh, I feel like I want to put more people, but I can't because we have less hours and there's only
She's
one
like, by the way, we have 15. I was like,
15
how?
DJs.
We're going to B2B everything.
Yeah, I was like, I'm putting 2 DJs on an hour, and either like I gave them the choice. I was like, either you guys choose if you want to do half an hour each, or if you want to be B2B, like just have fun with it. There was no brief given. They just, like the DJs that we work with, the local DJs, like really just understand GrooveTop, like what we like, what our crowd likes. Yeah, that was really special.
Yeah, something that trouble that I face, right, is that when I'm putting together a team, I always try to put the best people together, or very technically skilled people all together to kind of build a lineup or build a company that I have previously, right? But I realize like the best people might not necessarily make the best team. Yeah, it's a lot about like synergy, emotions behind that kind of thing. I think skills at the end of the day really can train. Yeah, but then the thing is like the ability to gel together, to understand unspoken languages. Wow, that's very rare.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I think you guys figured it out very
vibes, right? Like that's really like vibes don't lie. That's really what it is. Like you can put 2 people together, and if they just don't vibe with each other, it's never gonna work. But if they do, then like magic can be created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, so I think like by doing more things you can tell. Yeah, so to create more long-lasting alliances, in a sense. And then, what is the lowest point for GrooveTop for you guys?
Yeah, I was trying to think of that. I feel like
I think we've had some financial difficulties.
Yeah.
I think that's being kind of low. It's like difficult, like when a venue is like, you know, doesn't pay you, and like we front the cost as well. So, you know, we're fronting the cost for things, and then we charge the venue for some of those costs. And then if they don't pay us, then yeah, we have to carry the burden of that, you know, and it can, and especially if you're making bigger moves and booking DJs and paying deposits up front and everything, and you know, doing all of these things and putting great things together, but then you've got this bill that's sitting back there for months, you know, and it's like, okay, great, there's a quite a lot of money tied up in that now is holding up things that we're doing. It's stressful.
it's very stressful. It's very stressful, and we've had to like pay ourselves like significantly less because of it. I think since then the venue has paid after months of chasing, but
working with this kind of like venue,
no.
giving you a high effect, right?
They owed us for almost a year. So that's that.
Yeah. It's actually to be honest, the not paying is one thing. The communication is another thing.
Yeah.
Like actually, we're really reasonable people, and we we communicated with them, we gave them opportunities for payment, we provided, you know, like an installment plan. Like, look, we get it, times can be tough, like maybe you're suffering or whatever, let's give you an installment plan or whatever. But to not respond or yeah, literally
being ghosted.
and just to like see an email chain or a message chain and everything is like Amanda, and I'm like, okay, this is, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
So it's more that, it's just like, actually, I think really what it is when you look at it, and every time it comes to your mind, you think about it and you look at it and you're like, this is disrespectful, like we did something great and now you're holding things up and everything, and then it's just frustrating. And then sometimes you get worked up as well, and it's just like, I'm not going to work with them again, and that's it, you know. And I think the main thing is actually, it's okay if things get held up from time to time, but it's the disrespect. That's what gets me.
You say that you are very reasonable people, because after 1 year, right, you still never sue them.
We did. We took them to court.
Yeah,
we did take them to court.
We had to take them to court.
But then that still was another thing. And then they eventually paid. They eventually paid when I called them out on social media.
But how long did it take for you to like finally, you know what, I gotta do it? Like 6 months?
June till, was it March? February. April.
Yeah.
It was April. Yeah, April. So from June last year until April.
Damn, you're very
like 10 months,
chill,
yeah.
man. Very patient, yeah.
And it really was until the last minute that, yeah, Amanda was like, I'm going to post it, not on GrooveTop social media, but on like her
My
page.
personal.
I reposted it as well. And it's just like, oh, we have to do that for you to like realize that this is urgent or important. Like we literally took you to court, we took you to small claims, and that wasn't
Dude,
like,
I tried small claims, man. So mafan, you know. So many paperwork.
You know what? At least we have it. Like,
Yeah.
at least we have that in Singapore. At least we have small claims. At least there is something that can be done. There's something official where you can make this step and you can make it be known, you know, that I'm doing this. And if they want to ignore it, fine, they ignore it. But then it's within your power to decide what you want to do after that. And that's not the worst that we could have done. We could have done worse, but we didn't, you know, and they paid. So good for them. Like, we appreciate that, because that was like a little stress relief.
yeah.
Yeah.
With the new like social media age, right? Like you're starting to see more veterans like Gemstar, you know, posting on social media saying that this company owe me money or whatever. Right? Personally, right, as a growing brand, I don't know if I should do that. You know, is that
That's also like a lot of, you know, friends that we spoke to about this issue was just like call them, like name and shame, call them out. And we never really wanted to do that, because we also get that, like, especially like F&B is like a struggling, like they're struggling right now. It's really difficult. And we don't want to have to do that. Like, I actually really don't like that kind of thing, but it just got to the point where they pushed us to an edge where it was just like, okay, I guess this is just what we have to do. And that's when they started to take notice.
I think there's a very fine line, you know, and I think that like we said, you know, there was a level of patience that had been reached, and we'd exhausted the system. We'd already been to court, and then now it's like, okay, actually now we're operating under this kind of a little bit of a fear. What if they close? What if they just, you know, close?
Announce bankruptcy or whatever.
Yeah. And then actually we can't get this money at all. So maybe we do need to kind of take a slightly drastic measure, in my perspective, a slightly drastic measure to call somebody out publicly, but not without having met them first in person and them telling us that they would pay us. So after that, that's when I was like, okay, no, they're not going to. They're not taking us seriously. They don't believe that we will push forward with this. They want to call my bluff. Okay, let's go.
Do you actually go down to the venue itself?
We met them in person.
Did, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of administrative work and a lot of hours.
It's just such a waste of time.
Yeah.
All of this time spent
Energy is so much energy wasted.
and chasing, and then going down to the venue, like,
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
like-
the reason doesn't matter, right?
Not good enough.
yeah,
It's really
and
not.
even when we called them out on social media, we're not telling people to boycott this place. Like we
tell them what
don't
happened.
want that. We don't want them to close. We don't want them to fail. We do like, I would never want that for any, especially
Never,
F&B
yeah.
business. So like even our friends were like, we're gonna boycott. We're like, no, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's not what we're
Yeah,
saying.
please don't actually, because we actually like the staff there, you know, and we like the place and everything. But you know what? Shout out to the venues that do pay on time.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the people that
1%. Damn, yeah.
I mean,
So for
it's
you.
not the 1%. Actually, a lot of the venues that we work
Yeah,
with,
they're
like,
really good.
They're great. They pay on time, you know, and you know, yeah, I would say it's the other way around. We've had less people owe us money than the people who don't.
Yeah, the most anxiety driving thing is actually when you're doing an outdoor event. Is it going to rain today?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is actually more anxiety driving than anything else.
Every Saturday, that's my life.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
never.
I'm no
Yeah.
resident DJ.
Yes,
So we just keep checking the weather
Yeah.
forecast. And
Where's
Yeah.
the chili and the onion, right?
Yeah, where are you supposed to plant it?
yeah. Where you stick it? In? No, where's the grass?
Yeah. Yeah, that's also why I try not to do any of like outdoor events towards the end of the year or towards like the very beginning of the year. But yeah, like we were saying now, it just doesn't even matter anymore. Like when is monsoon season? It's throughout the whole year. It's
I mean,
just-
didn't it rain today? Yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yes.
I was just telling her I was at EDC Korea end of April, May, right? That period, right? It's supposed to be transitioning to summer already, right? Freaking 6 degrees, and I only wear one like windbreaker, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm so in trouble.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think it's unusual. We're experiencing like weather like we've never experienced before in Singapore, right? Like it just rains whenever it wants to. So I don't think we can plan ahead for, okay, this is the dry season and this is the wet season.
Yeah.
That's not a
I
thing
think it's
anymore.
less of a risk in the middle of the year, like our summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, also we love outdoor parties. We love day parties. We really want to do them. So it's just a risk that you have to take.
and we'll do it. Like we'll take
Yeah.
the risk. Yeah.
Must plan B.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of faith as well, right? Like, okay, actually, like we believe that the people are going to come anyway. Even if it does rain, like we're still going to have a great party because this is what we do.
Yeah.
I think as long as the DJ and the speaker, right, has sufficient shelter and waterproofing, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
black
the party
garbage
can go on,
bags.
man.
The number of times we were like, oh, run out, put garbage bags over the speakers.
People only you're everything, you know. Yeah. And lastly, right, on this podcast, we talked a lot about Live Nation, Ticketmaster, monopoly in the market, right? And then you guys are potentially planning to expand into like festival one day, but maybe not. So how do you like kind of like fight the big dog? You know? It's like at this level already, so many issues that you're handling, right? Then the next level is like, well, the bigger sharks that you have to tackle.
To be honest, I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like never once have I thought, how are we going to tackle or fight the big dog? Never. I'm like, if we get there and we're at a point that we want to do something like this, we'll figure it out and we'll just do it.
Yeah. I mean, when you say big dogs, you mean like Live Nation, like those kind of like bigger concert events, or
Like for example, like Laneway. Singapore last time used to have a lane.
Yeah, late
Yeah.
night.
They are quite big, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
They just fizzle, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously because of very strong competition, like, and why would a typical Singaporean go to a Singaporean festival? Might as well just go Bali. Can go 4 festivals,
Yeah.
right? You know, all my friends I meet at Bali, like, hey, I thought you do club, but they are all there.
Yeah.
you know?
And I guess that's maybe what we're also trying to build in Singapore for your typical Singaporean to have more faith in the local scene as well. I think actually in the last few years especially, more and more local collectives have come out and pop-up parties have come out to really prove like, hey, we have a really cool scene here.
Yeah.
And actually, nightlife can be suffering sometimes, but
Yes.
if you want to go out, all you need to do is look and don't just look for like, oh, what are the clubs, like what are the hot clubs of the moment? It's whose parties are you following, you know, like all these little pop-ups here and there. So yeah, that's why I said like also if we were to do a bigger festival, we'll definitely work with, you know, our friends in the industry as well, because we know we can't do this alone. and we have not been doing this alone. Like we work with a lot of other collectives as well. Like we worked with like Secret Pals I told you about, like Last Saturdays.
We're working with Wavy soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
We're working with 12 degrees tomorrow. Yeah. So I think that, oh gosh, wow, completely lost my train of thought there.
Yeah, no problem. You can slowly think about it. Another thought that I have, right, is that I have so many people on the podcast, right, starting their own like festival. Like for example, Felix Huang. I don't know if B-Boy Extraordinaire, creating the biggest B-Boy festival in the whole of entire Asia.
Yeah, he's done so well.
Like millions,
he's done so well.
But he's like, hey, Singapore, like, don't make sense, eh? Okay, I opened my Radical Force. It's called
RF Jam.
RF Jam, right? Radical Force Jam. Instead of in Singapore, I do it in Da Nang.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
he's
that's
killing
why
it.
I don't know. I feel like he's kind of looking a little bit bleak for Singaporean brands that have to be shipped overseas. Do you kind of feel that that's the future?
I mean, I said that we're doing GrooveTop on tour. We're trying to build GrooveTop as a brand that's not just known in Singapore, but also like known in the region and, you know, maybe eventually Europe as well. We did Australia, but it's not so that we can go and do a festival somewhere else. It's more for like, hey, we're representing like the Singapore scene. Like every time we go and do GrooveTop on tour, we bring DJs from Singapore with us. And it's kind of like a coming together of like, so like the Manila one was half Singapore DJs, half local DJs. So they're like playing together, they're kind of riffing off each other, and it's like a fun kind of...
It's a cross-cultural thing, right?
Yeah.
As well. Like we want to show what's happening in Singapore, and we want to bring that connect with what's happening, you know, wherever we're going to, whichever city that is. And that's important to us because I think ultimately at the end of the day, we want to make sure that people outside of Singapore know that there's cool shit happening in Singapore. That's what I wanted to say just now, actually. Yes. I want to say that it's frustrating when people go, oh, you know, nightlife in Singapore sucks, or like, oh, Singapore doesn't have like a vibrant, you know, kind of like, I'm sorry.
It's bullshit.
Have you looked? Have you been out? There's cool shit happening in Singapore all the time, you know, and actually DJs that are traveling the world love coming to Singapore.
Yeah, our hospitality is next level when you treat guest DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just the hospitality. It's actually the experience that they get when they DJ and they work and they're playing to a crowd here. The crowd here loves the DJ, you know, and they're respectful as well, and they're having a good time, and they're showing up, and like there's relatively very little bad behavior. So I think that the interesting thing about Singapore is that it's not like New York or whatever, but it's Singapore. It's Singapore's own unique flavor of nightlife, you know, and I think that we have got something cool here, and I think that it's cool to let people know outside of Singapore that there's something happening so that we can build this and grow it, and who knows what happens with it. I think it'll be exciting to see what happens in the next few years.
Yeah, listening to you, I kind of like answered my own question, right, on like the rising cost of Singapore. How it doesn't make sense for people to party here, people rather go to Bali, right? But I think if we create a good enough experience, right, that's worth the cost, that can justify the cost, right, and then people will come if they want to come, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, why would people spend thousands to go to Ibiza over the weekends, you know? It's the same thing, right? So we just have to build something that's worth it for people's value for money.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, what Collective Minds is doing as well, like bringing Jamie XX, Black Coffee, Fred Again in such a cool venue that kind of feels like you're in like a London warehouse or something. Like it's almost like a Printworks kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And so many people from Singapore are coming out to this. Not only that, like I'm sure loads of people from like KL and, you know, exactly. They'll fly in for this as well. So,
the same way that they fly in for Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga and everything, right?
Oh, Lady Gaga is insane, man. I was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but that's to that point. Like there's stuff happening in Singapore. I think that, you know, you did mention earlier, like, you know, people need to go outside of Singapore to build a name first. This is unfortunately something that's been happening in Singapore for the longest time. When I built my fashion brand a long time ago, it was very much that as well. There wasn't like, you could see Singapore wasn't ready Singaporeans didn't really support Singaporeans, right?
Correct.
And they do to a degree, but they kind of need to see that you've got some kind of success somewhere else, or somebody like it's aspirational, you know. So yeah, I launched overseas before I launched here. So I made sure that my brand was in stores around the world, and then I was like, okay, now I'll open a shop in Singapore and do e-commerce and sell in Singapore and consignment in Singapore stores and that sort of thing. And it did really well, but it needed to be proven around the world first. A little bit sad. I think it's starting to change. I think that Singaporeans are starting to support Singaporeans a lot more because we've got our own kind of culture and identity now.
Yeah, I think it's like back then, it even started with like JJ Lin, Stephanie's son,
Yeah.
your biggest artist in Singapore, even Fan Wong. I don't know if you guys
yeah.
had to go star in a Hollywood movie before people was like, oh my god, she actually can act, you know. Singapore is just like, I think it's like Asian man, you know. It's like whatever we do, we're not good enough for our parents.
Oh my gosh.
100 only? What?
Yeah.
That's too little. Yeah. But okay, so to conclude this podcast, right, what are the next few months gonna be looking like for you guys? Big significant events that you guys are throwing. Anything that you can let us know? That's pipelines.
Well,
Or it's like top secret.
not really top secret. I'm trying to think of what we have coming
Well,
up.
we like just now we said we're doing something with Wavy, so we're doing that next month.
We've got another guest DJ coming in August.
Yeah,
How far do you plan ahead for guest DJ?
we're
6 months?
we're done until
we're done until
done until
August for
August,
now.
yeah.
But yeah, sometimes we have to plan a little bit further, especially for guest DJs or like certain venues.
F1 period, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we generally stay away from F1 period just because there's so much going on, and personally, I just don't want the stress of having to.
She wants to watch the race.
Yeah, I want to watch the race. But I just want to enjoy the weekend, but also there really is so much going on that I just don't want the anxiety of having to worry about whether people are going to show up or not.
So competitive also that weekend.
It's very competitive, and like a lot of big budgets and, you know, more like guest DJs. Like I'm sure that, you know, maybe one year we'll try it, but yeah, I'd rather not for now.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we only have one guest DJ planned in August. Nothing else in the next few months, all like local acts.
We're currently planning something in July that we're just finalizing the details on at the moment, which will be kind of more regional.
Yeah.
And then and hopefully we'll be back at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So that's I think that's all we can share at the moment. Everything
Yeah.
still needs to be like 100% firm.
Yeah. I don't like talking about it until it's fully confirmed, so I don't want to jinx it.
Jinx.
Yeah.
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 Okay, thank you so much for the podcast. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.